How many people here heard my first presentation? Raise your hand. Okay, so about half. Okay. Hey, Nick, don't worry, I don't pick on you on this one. All right. So we gave a presentation this afternoon about videos. But like everything in digital marketing, nothing operates by itself. Everything intermingles. And so we're going to continue looking at Leo Lance, but from the Leo Lance was one of the people we used as an example. This should I wait while they're doing this?
Yes, just 2 seconds, Art. I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah. We're gonna lock you in here like a bunch of fish.
Wow. I can actually hear things.
That is cool. Yes.
Wow.
Here we go.
All right.
Everybody gets what they need. They can network, we can learn. Yep.
Right.
And when our businesses boom, they're gonna be.
All right. So, as I said, this afternoon we talked about video, but we used a gentleman named Leo Lance. Okay, so those who weren't here, we've already talked about him. So if people act like they know something about him, they do. Okay, but we'll try to do it in a way. There's a couple things that came up this afternoon that I said we'll actually cover that this evening and stuff. So you'll hear some references back and forth. But I'll try to do it you can follow it without having been here this afternoon. If for some reason I mess up just a little bit, just raise your hand and ask for clarification. We tend to be very informal, okay, as far as what's up. And if you have a question right then, you don't have to save it to the end because usually right then is when it's relevant. So go ahead and ask away, okay? All right. So this conversation is the big picture conversation. This is the 90,000 foot view of what you need to bring in business. And we're going to lay out a pathway that you can execute in 90 days. That's about how long, when people are fully focused and being supported in the process, it takes about 90 days to do this. Now I will say that I've seen people take 2 years to do it, and it still works. Okay, you have to fit it within what's happening in your business and the amount of staff you have, the amount of time you have. Okay, there's nothing magical about the 90 days other than that's about as quick as we can see somebody putting together the whole thing that they need. Okay, so that would be the fastest. By no means should you not do it if you can't do it in 90 days, because one of the things we always joke about is people claim they're going to be in business for 10 years, but they never act like they're going to be in business for 10 years. And I'll just give you my favorite example. How many people go to, who goes to networking events, gather up all sorts of business cards, and the business cards end up in a drawer somewhere, and they never put them on an email list, they never communicate with the people again. See, if the person said, I could buy your product in the next week, then they remember them. But if the person isn't about to buy, they go to the drawer and get forgotten. But that person's going to buy. They're going to buy in 3 years, 4 years. If they were acting, not saying, but if they were acting like they were going to be in business 10 years from now, all those business cards would have gone into a database, and they'd all be being communicated with on a regular basis. So that's all to say, we're talking 90 days because that's the fastest we think reasonably someone can do this. But if you can't do it in 90 days, do it anyway. Just take the year, 2 years, whatever it takes, put it out, okay? All right, so we're going to use Leo Lance as kind of the model here, because I find it easier. I hope other people do too, since you're about to be suffered going through it this way. I find it easier when we're talking concepts if we can put a real company, a real person, real numbers, real actions to it, okay? And so that's why we're going to use Leo Lance as the model. For those who weren't here this afternoon, Leo Lance is a NARI member in Richmond, okay? He claims he's Angela's best friend. Angela says she's never really met him. Okay. He also, this is one point where I get to swear at a NARI meeting, which is always kind of fun to, break the rules. And the swear is, Leo Lance was named the NAHB, the National Association of Home Builders, Remodeler of the Year last year. The swear was the NAHB. at a NARI meeting, okay?
Blasphemy.
But we actually love the NAHB. There's no problem with that. We're just joking, okay? So Leo is fairly well established, has a good reputation, okay? Obviously, Remodeler of the Year for the nation is a pretty nice honor. Now, ironically, and it's because it's NAHB, I'm not that involved with them. Did you, Angela, did you hear that a builder in Williamsburg won it?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I think we've had 2 winners in 2 years in the state.
Oh,
Which
wow.
is, yeah, I just saw a thing on Leo's Facebook. Congratulations to my friend in Williamsburg, who, you know, which is pretty amazing for the state. I mean, that's great. So we'll be using him as the example. Now, I'm going to give you just some numbers to kind of goes back to an old saying that I like, and I'll tell you who if you're interested. But it's basically without data, all you have is an opinion. Okay, now that doesn't make your opinion bad. It doesn't make it not useful, but it's an opinion if you don't have the data. Okay, so I always try to bring data for people to put it in context. And we always try to use one of our clients because we have the data on them. Okay, but there's a lot of people that have done the same thing that Leo's done. I mean, the process is the process. Okay, so we started working with Leo a year ago. Because we like data, we always pick something to track. So the 2 things we picked to track with Leo is 1, how many actual leads he was getting coming in, okay? And that is through the website or through phone calls, okay? But how many leads are actually coming in that had some connection to his digital marketing, okay? And because Leo thinks he's going to be in business in 10 years, we also keep track. He has a book an ebook about how to do a remodeling job. It's about 30 pages, I think, Grayson, about 30 pages. We count the number of downloads that book gets because once they've downloaded it, 2 things have happened. Number 1, do you think Leo's credibility with them have grown after they read his book on how to attack a remodeling job? And we get to remarket to them because they have now filled out a form, okay? So those are the 2 pieces of data that we follow. I mean, we follow other data, but those are the 2 pieces of data we're going to look at tonight. Just because if I throw too much data at you, it gets crazy. Okay, so a year ago, he was averaging 1 lead a month, which is not terrible. How many people would take an extra lead this month? You know, I mean, and 1 download every other month, so half a download a month. Okay. So we worked on a bunch of stuff, and I'll explain what we worked on. But we worked on a bunch of stuff, and in December of this last month, there were 10 leads that came in, and 3 downloads, okay? So that's a 600% increase in downloads and a 1,000% in leads. Now, 10 leads, I don't know, it depends on the size of your company, but 10 leads, we're now, legitimate chance of picking up 3 or 4 jobs. We're now getting into something that at least probably is worth doing, even if it doesn't give us all the business we want, okay? And on January 6th, we made 2 major changes for Leo, okay? Now, we were working towards this. I mean, but the 2 major changes we changed his website to something that is called the high converting website, or high converting homepage is actually what it's called. And again, it's just part of our philosophy that we like data and we like getting information. So we're a member of the largest digital marketing training organization in the country. Some people may have heard of Digital Marketer is the name of it. And they have about 100,000 marketers who are members of their organization, and we all share data. And so that we get a lot of data to work with. One of the problems with digital marketing is most of the people in the business are people like me. Relatively small companies, maybe between 5 and 15 employees. One of the things about data is you need a lot of it to have it be really effective. Well, I'm sorry, a company like mine just can't get enough data. Even a really large digital marketing company might have 100 employees. Believe it or not, that's not even enough data to actually be able to do it. So we team up with other companies to get the amount of data we need. And that's where the high converting website comes from. It's not our idea. If we get credit, it's the credit of accepting that we're not smart enough to figure it out on our own and we don't have enough data and we listen to someone else. So if we get credit, that's the credit we get. We did not come up with it, okay? I want to make that clear. We like claiming credit when we deserve it, so we don't want to claim credit when we don't deserve it. But we converted his website to the high converting thing, and we'll look at it, okay? But we're going to put it in context. And we started using video. Now, let me explain where I said we started using video, and people that say here this afternoon understand what that means. The video hasn't even made its website yet. We started using it in social media and started driving people to the videos. It is being put up on the website, but I dragged Grayson away to come down here and help with this, which meant he couldn't put it up on the website because anything that was actually a kid, I say, hey, he doesn't actually do it. He's the person who has to make sure it happens. Is that fair to say? Okay? Okay, so, year ago, 1 lead, half of download. December, 10 leads, 3 downloads. Since January 6th, which is what, 9 days ago, we so far have 11 downloads. From 3 downloads, we have 11 in 9 days. And we have 17 leads, okay, in 9 days. Now, one of the challenges with digital marketing is you never know, because so much is involved, nothing ever operates by itself. But those are the 2 changes that we have made. And as I say, the video really hasn't even hit the website yet, okay? I think most people, and by the way, those leads, I mean, we've looked at them, they're putting a second floor on a house. It's a $150,000 kitchen remodel. It's a complete redo of a basement with bathrooms and stuff. I mean, these are real remodeling jobs, okay? 17 leads in 9 days is pretty good. So we're gonna that's what we're gonna talk about. How did that happen, okay? Any questions? Did I explain that well enough? Okay. So what we're gonna do is start off with the philosophy of digital marketing, how we practice it. And again, as I said, I know I have friends in the business who always say, "Oh, why do you keep saying you didn't come up with it? You know, that's not a very good marketing approach." Well, I'm sorry, I think honesty is the best marketing approach. So this is what is called the Value Journey Canvas, okay? And it's the process of taking someone through being a complete stranger to being a raving fan and promoting the business. It's an 8-step process, okay? Everything we do, and I'm going to encourage everything you do, is always done with the purpose of moving someone from one box to the next box. And you do blog posts, you do social media posts, you do knowing up front what box it's geared towards and what box you're trying to move someone to. Does that make sense? People say, you know, I tried social media, it just didn't work for me. And we go, great, what do you do? Well, I did a ton of videos. Okay, what were the videos designed to do? Well, get me business. But business doesn't come on one video. It comes because someone goes through a process. Does that make sense? And so when you do a video, you have to, or a blog post, or anything, it has to be with a specific concept of it's being geared to somebody who's here to move them to here. And you've got to design it. Which brings us to the next thing. People always love asking, how long should a video be? And it's like, which block are you trying to move somebody from? Okay, I have people that are doing business with me, okay, that I'm now trying to move to advocate, that if I give them a 30-minute video, they watch it. Because I have credibility built up with them. They believe that watching a 30-minute video from me is worth it. And I can bring them value to help move them. But if I try to give them a 30-minute video when they've never heard who I was before, and I'm just kidding, they're not going to take the time to read it. And so, you know, what kind of blog post you should write, how long should the blog post be, how long the video should be, is answered by what box is the person in and what box are you moving them to. That make sense? Okay. So to give this in a kind of a way that you can visualize, I'm going to ask you to think about a romantic relationship for a moment. Okay? Where does a romantic relationship begin? Because relationships ultimately are the same in many ways when you pass through it. Obviously, the intention, the end place you're going might be different. But where does a relationship start?
When you meet.
Meeting.
Probably when you first become aware. How many people are married and met their wife, no, saw your wife or husband before you met them? Right? I mean, I know I met my wife racing sailboats. I hadn't met her. I saw her on the beach getting her boat ready. I saw her racing, but I hadn't met her yet. So the first step is awareness. You have to know the person exists. How many person has ever gone on a date with someone they didn't know existed? Can't happen. So the first thing is awareness. Now I'm going to go through the steps, and then we're going to go through how to do those steps, okay? Okay, so first thing is awareness. Got to have awareness. Second thing I'm going to say, again, how did you go on that first date? You probably needed to engage with them. You probably needed to talk to them a little bit. There probably had to be some interaction. It doesn't go from I see my wife on the beach of a sailboat regatta to all of a sudden we're sitting at a dinner table having a dinner together. It doesn't go like that. There's something in between, okay? So engagement, we have to engage. I'll tell you how my wife and I engaged, okay? And this is for a socially inept teenage boy, me. This was the perfect way to have engagement, okay? If any of you have any teenage boys and want to know, this is the way you do it. You win the race, and she wins her race, because you're in two different races, and you both get called up to get trophies, okay? You don't need to be very apt at it. You're standing next to her, waiting to be called up. You tend to talk, okay? So then we go to the next step. That's where we actually subscribe. That's where we actually kind of agree, well, we're interested in this going somewhere. I have no idea where, but I'm interested enough to have it go somewhere, okay? That's the point where you might give your number to each other. That's the point where you might agree to meet somewhere, whatever, okay? Okay? And then the convert. And the convert doesn't mean the sale in business or in this. Convert means we now invest something, okay? In my wife, in my case, the investment was there were about 6 classes that day at that regatta, and the 6 winners all agreed to go out to dinner together. We converted. Now, again, if any of you have an inept boy in your life that you want to give some advice to, this is the way you get a woman to pay attention to you. This is it, okay? This is the secret. Have her arrive with another female friend, and this is absolutely true. This is what happened. The person who was sailing with me was Dale Bishop. He was a blonde-haired kid. Joe Fraternity, just biggest personality in the world. You couldn't not like him. Yeah, I think you may not recommend your daughter marrying the guy, right? But he's the life of the party. Everybody likes him, okay? So, there Dale and I are at the table, and Patty, the other woman, and Lisa are walking in, and Patty turns around to Lisa and goes, "Which one are you interested in?" And she goes, "Neither?" And she said, "Great, because I want the blonde." So, and she said, "Fine." So Patty was with the blonde. Where did that put Lisa? Sitting next to me. Okay? See, I had the secret of how to do this. I mean, really. Just had to keep the committee around giving out awards. I had to keep Patty around saying, that guy's useless. I'm not paying any attention to him. I'm going for the blonde guy because he's the hot catch, right? This is pretty smooth. Would you agree? I can tell you're impressed. Okay. So we got the subscribe, okay? But then comes the, so see, once they've subscribed, subscribing means they're investing in the relationship. In this, she's sitting down having dinner with me, even though she didn't choose to invest in a sense. She was just going to dinner with all the winners, and Patty explained who she was going to sit next to based on who Patty. She ended up investing time. And guess what? I did a ridiculous thing. I actually listened to her stories. If you want to impress a person, I don't care if they're male or female, listen to them. It's amazing. You want to be thought of as a brilliant conversationalist? Say nothing, let the other person talk the whole time. They'll leave away talking about what a great conversationalist you are. Okay? So I excited her. I wowed her in this step. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. And now comes the sale, the real sale, okay? And that is we're now dating. Because we went through these steps, we're now to the point of dating. And then we go through the ascension. You know, we're dating, it's exclusive, it's serious, okay? And then advocate, she starts actually letting people know that, yeah, I actually am dating him. That's a big step. When a woman accepts that she's dating me, she's gone across a major threshold there, okay? And then we get to the promote. The promote is the time that you decide to get married or whatever. That's the big time, okay? Maybe during the ascension, you've gone away on weekends together and stuff. Does that make sense? Does that sound about right? Okay, so let me ask you, what happens, and since I'm a guy, let me talk from the man's perspective for a second, okay? What happens if I skip one of these steps?
You get a wrong answer.
Yeah, it's awkward. What happens if I miss two of these steps?
You're out.
It's sexual assault. I mean, I'm actually being serious, okay? At a certain point, okay? Now, how long will it take? It might take a day, it might take a year, but the steps have to happen. Does that make sense? Okay, as businesses, we start off with the awareness, where do we go next? We go right here, to the sale. And you wonder why people are cautious to talk to you. Okay? Because it's a relationship. So here is your mission, if you choose to accept it or not, is over the next period of time, we're suggesting 90 days, but over the next period of time, design a process to take businesses from the awareness stage to the engage stage, to the subscribe stage, to the convert stage. And remember, convert is not a sale, it's they're investing time or money with you. So it might be a design agreement where they might agree to have you design something. It might be having them in to see what granite they have for their countertops, okay? But they're taking time out of their day to give it to you. That's a conversion. It's not a sale, but it's, okay? Are people on board on this? Okay, when that's happening, you better figure out a way to excite them. Because if you're not exciting them, there's not going to be a next date. Okay, once you've done that, you then move them to coming in and becoming a client of yours at whatever level. Please.
Well, with the example of Semper Fi on this promo that he did for the
Correct.
show, he was kind of jumped them through a conversion and an excite kind of in one transaction, right?
Yes, and you can do that as long as it's distinct steps.
Because he knew exactly where he was in that process.
Correct. So, for people who weren't here this afternoon, we were talking about Nick Bonadies, who's Simplify. He's here tonight. And we were talking about a specific program we're doing for him about a home show. Okay? And we've gotten for him, I think it's about 60 prospects now, of which about 45 are real high quality. High quality by our definition, the person said, I need this done, and this is what it is that I need done. I need a new roof, I need it in the next 60 days. That was our definition. Then there's another 25 good prospects. Those are people that are saying, hey, we want a relationship with you at a low level, but we want to, so they might convert, that's acting, we're going to act with those 25 like Nick's going to be in business for 10 years. It's fine with us if that person converts in 3 years. Because you know what we need in 3 years? Sales. We don't care if it took them 3 years to get there. We need sales in 3 years. As long as we're also getting sales today for we stay in business for where we can get them in 3 years, right? So what he's talking about is, see, this is a very specific reason we did it. So we have a landing page where they come and register to get free tickets to the home show. And that's where they tell us why they're going to the home show, what are they looking for, what their time frame is, okay? We then have a video on a thank you page, okay? Now we've already converted them. They've already given us all their information and they're agreeing to give us, you know, some connection, okay? But we have a thank you video. Do we need a thank you video? No, they got their tickets. The thank you video is there for one reason and one reason only. That's to take them from the subscribe stage to the convert stage. Does that make sense? Okay? That video is put there. Well, we'll see how time goes. We can play the video for the people who weren't here this afternoon. Can we just send them all tomorrow? All the video? Yeah, we'll send an email to everybody that has all the videos we're talking about, because we only have X amount of time today. But see, that was intentional. We've got them here. See, this is where it doesn't matter how fast you go, as long as you hit the steps. Okay, as long as they're willing. You know, I mean, has anyone ever known anyone who met somebody and married them 90 days later or committed to it? Okay, I've known them. I mean, it happens. But they still went through the steps. All right? So this is us going, oh, they're here. They've just given us their address and everything. Now we're setting them up with a video to build more of a relationship and get them to come and visit us at the booth. Because if they come and visit us at the booth, we're now in the convert stage. They've now taken the time out of their day to come and actually talk to us at the booth. Okay? So that's why that video's there. That's where I say, everything you should do, you should not do a marketing video. You should not do a marketing blog. There should never be, because that's too general. There should be a blog written for people that are already aware of you and you're trying to engage them. Or people that are already engaged with you, but you're trying to subscribe them. Okay? Don't do a marketing video. Don't do a marketing blog. That is too general, because, you know, what happens is, do you know, and I should go back and research this, but do you know that there are 11 professional baseball players that have played all 9 positions during a major league game? Do you know how many of their names you'd recognize? 0. Because they weren't very good at any one. They may have been the most well-rounded Major League Baseball players in the history of the game. But they weren't very good at any one position, okay? It is hard to come up with a piece of content that is good at gaining awareness, good at engaging, good at subscribing, good at converting, good at exciting. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. All right? So, it's got to be designed. That video was put there for the single purpose of taking them from the subscribe to the convert. All right? Because we try to be intentional. All right. So, any other questions? Okay. So let me just kind of run through this on each section and just some ideas. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to solve any of your problems here tonight, okay? What do we do? So the awareness. How are we going to make people aware? Let's just come up with a bunch of ideas. How are you going to make someone aware that you exist? Okay, winning a sailboat race is probably not going to work in this, okay? So it worked for me, though, really well, 47 years ago. Okay, come on.
Are you asking like what advertising means?
No,
Like a Google search?
I don't give that
You
much.
say when they're searching.
Okay, yeah, search engine optimization. And when someone goes in and searches for granite countertops, we come up.
Yeah.
That's one way of gaining awareness. Now, I'll say it does nothing for the engage. Now, and this is interesting, you talk about SEO, people always want their site to come up with SEO. You should never be working to have your site come up in SEO. You should be looking for a particular page to come up in SEO. Because the next stage is engage. And if you're looking for granite countertops, do they want to end up on a homepage that talks about 10 different types of countertops? No, they want to turn up on a page that talks about granite countertops. Okay? It's interesting. Anyone here ever heard of an organization called the NFL? Okay? Do you think they need to do search engine optimization to be found? No. Do you know they have a SEO department of 21 people?
Wow.
And guess what they're trying to do? Have you show up in the right place. They're not trying to have you show up. They're trying to have you show up in the right place. Okay? This is hilarious. My son, who's fairly well known in those types of circles, in the tech, actually had the NFL approach him because they noticed that he was doing some things that were getting remarkable results. And it was just kind of interesting. He said, so what do you do? So what does the SEO department of the NFL do? It has them, if this person's looking for statistics for a quarterback in the 1960s, they want them showing up on a page that talks about the statistics of quarterbacks in the 1960s. Okay? Now, I will tell you, this is very hard to do. It won't happen. I mean, do not beat yourself up if it doesn't happen all the time. But ultimately, you should be working for not just showing up in SEO, but having the right page show up to SEO, because we, us right here, Americans, are extremely impatient. If we show up on a homepage and we don't see what we're looking for, what do? We're out. Okay? So yes, SEO is one way. What's another way?
Opening our mailbox.
Like direct mail?
Direct mail.
Direct mail. Direct mail is another way. Them opening up their mailbox.
Them.
Do not, right.
I mean,
Direct mail. Absolutely. Go ahead.
I focus a lot of my energy cultivating relationships with my
Yeah.
existing clients. Being part of their life, being friends, offering, just value add. We come in, maybe we remodel a bathroom or do a basement, but we adopt them as part of our family. And as a return, we maintain their home. We don't offer handyman services and repair services to the public, but we do to our clients and their friends and family. And so we're always cultivating relationships and, find things that they're interested in, and, I'll invite them out to the wine tour, to a winery, or we'll go to, different things. I bring gifts, surprise them. Sometimes I bring a meal over. I like to cook.
Okay,
So just
got
a
it.
lot of ongoing communication relationships with them.
How does that make people aware?
What it does is it keeps me as top of mind awareness, and they promote me to their sphere of influence.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Let me tell you. I mean, they do it to some extent. I have no doubt.
Sure.
But I'm going to say that's more in the advocate and the promote category.
Well, we create raving fans. That's what
Right.
we do.
Okay. So here's my point. How do you do the exact same thing with your existing clients, but have it really smack of awareness? Okay. Were you here this afternoon?
Yeah.
You remember the video of the Washington kitchen?
Right.
Okay, this was a lady who had a purple kitchen made. Okay, it was beautiful. It was great. And Leo, the person that we're going to use, did that as a video. Guess what she did with that video?
Yeah.
Put it up on her Facebook
page.
and
Yeah.
shared it with everybody she knew.
Right.
See, that's awareness.
Yeah, my clients will take their after photos and post it up on their.
Right, but what I'm saying is, this case, do you remember the video?
Yeah.
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 This isn't just making raving fans out of them.
Right.
It's actually, one of the main purposes of that video was to gain awareness to her friends, because we gave her a way of doing it. Does that make?
yeah.
I also like the fact that she bought a $60,000 food processor and got a kitchen for free.
Absolutely. All right. Does that make sense to people? This is where we do everything with it. See, what you're doing, there will be the referrals. I mean, I'm thinking it's excellent what you're doing, but it's not designed to create awareness immediately. Okay? That video is designed to get awareness with her friends and family immediately. It moves people immediately, naturally into the awareness category. All right? A couple other ways, and then we got to move on.
Let me ask you this: like a lot of neighborhoods have their own community Facebook page.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on being able to leverage that?
Fantastic.
Or have your clients, post and promote you there. I find that if they do post you, that's great, but it only has a life cycle of maybe a couple days. So
Correct.
unless you're getting, other people, mentioning your name or, on a regular basis, it dies very quickly. So what are your thoughts on trying to?
It's still great.
do more with that?
Because again, we're trying to gain awareness. Even if it fades, it was still a very good thing to do. Which is why all the other stuff you're doing to make someone a promoter. I mean, Nick has one person and one thing that every day she's looking for opportunities to say, oh, you should talk to Nick at Semper Fi. Okay, that's what a promoter does. Okay, by the way, just so you know, people go, what's the difference between an advocate and a promoter? Here's the difference. An advocate, if asked, do you know a great kitchen guy? Because, yeah, I know one. A promoter saying, do you need a great kitchen guy?
It makes the call for you.
Yeah, does that make sense? We want both of them, by the way.
Yeah.
But we'd rather have the promoter. Okay, I'm just going to run off a couple of other things quick. I'm surprised no one said it. Social media. Social media is a great way to gain awareness, okay? Now you'll find that I'm one of these people that drive people nuts because I really don't believe in social media marketing. And here's what I mean by that. When people talk about social media marketing, they kind of think it's all going to happen in social media, and rarely does anything happen in any one place. Same as I don't believe in website marketing, same as I don't believe in social media marketing, I don't believe in SEO. It takes building up the whole thing, okay? I do believe social media is great for doing certain steps of the process, okay? So I'm in love with social media, I'm not in love with social media marketing, if that makes sense. Social media is a tool you use in marketing, it is not marketing. Same as granite countertops are a thing you use to build a kitchen, but it's not a kitchen, right? It's the exact same thing. Okay. Home shows, great way to gain awareness, right? Articles in a local magazine or whatever, great way to get a local awareness, okay? But remember, people will say, well, you know, I had an article and I got no business out of it. What did that person just do? They skipped 4 parts and then wonder why people were looking at them like they were assaulting. Okay? Awareness is about awareness. What a concept, okay? All right, then we go to engage. So, somebody has become aware of us. How do we engage them? Okay, any ideas of how to engage them? Come on.
Well, when you're using your, whatever the means of the awareness marketing was, do you need a call to action with it? Is that what you're looking?
Maybe.
Okay.
Don't particularly need a call to action.
Okay.
It might be useful. Okay? So let me give you an example. How many people are remarketing right now to their Facebook pages and websites? You're remarketing to them? How many people don't know what I mean by remarketing? Raise your hand if you don't know. All right, so let me back up and talk about remarketing. So we gain awareness back here by, I'll use for those who are here this afternoon, Nick Bonadies, the Simplify series, does videos when he's on a roof. And I only could show 2, I only had time, but I mean, he shows new employees getting on the roof for the first time, and they're like, you know, I mean, they're just hilarious, to be blunt and stuff, okay? Does it sell anybody? No. Is it designed to sell anybody? No. It's designed to gain awareness. But we now can drop a pixel on their website, or on their computer, actually. And a pixel says, we know you, we visited before, we know you're aware of us, okay? So once they've been to a video showing the roof and roof things, we can then remarket to them with an ad like, have you had your roof inspected in the last year? Okay, click here for the 10 reasons you want your roof inspected every year. Notice, where did I go, by the way? Did I go to let us inspect your roof? No, because what's that? That's skipping steps. Okay, that's awkward. Okay, has anyone ever met somebody who became more familiar with you than you were ready to be familiar with? How did it feel? Awkward. Okay, this is no different. This is still relationships, okay? So, but if they go, oh, inspect your roof every year? Why would I inspect my roof every year? So they click on it and read the article. What are they now doing? They're engaging, okay? Is that a great article for us to gain awareness? Yeah, maybe. But we don't have a lot of people clicking on a random person's list. But they've just watched a funny video, they've seen Nick, he seems like a nice guy. Okay, by the way, why is the name Simplify? But why is the name Simplify? We know what Simplify represents, but why is the name Simplify?
It's trust.
Because it's trust. You can check with Nick on this. He had 5 names he was considering. Simplify or anything marine related was not there. And I said, what's it accomplish? And we sat down and I convinced him on the idea that if you can have a name and you can justify it. If I name something Simplify, I come across as fake. Because would you like to know about my Marine service? Yeah, I'd like to know about it too, because it didn't happen. Okay, does that make sense? But he was a Marine, and he's very proud of having been a Marine. And he had one of the most prestigious jobs in the Marines. Does anyone know what a body bearer is? Body bearers are the Marines that handle burials at Arlington. It's one of the most exclusive positions you can get because you're doing the most important job in the Marines, which is honoring people that made the ultimate sacrifice. Okay, or who made the sacrifice, because some of them died afterwards, you know. But this is, you know, so it was a very legit thing for him to call it Semper Fi. But it wasn't there for him to brag about the Marines. It was there, I've got to ask you, at a certain level, do you trust Marines maybe a little bit more than the general public? That much, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people think instinctually that Marines overall, not everyone, but overall, on average, maybe a Marine is a little more dedicated than the general public? How many people? Why would we not communicate that? Okay, so the first thing is, that's where the name come, okay? That was gain awareness. He goes to a home show, and people will run into the booth and say, okay, where's the damn Marine? What did he just gain? Awareness, okay? So, and it doesn't have to be Marines. I mean, it can be anything that connects people to you right away, okay? So anyway, they then go and read the 10 reasons. Now, here's the interesting thing about remarketing. Are you remarketing the same way to everybody who's come to anything that you put out? Okay, so see, the people who have come and saw the funny video on the roof is getting remarketed about the 10 reasons you should have your, okay? Guess what the next retarget goes? Now we can take the people who only saw this ad, okay? And we can show them a specific ad different than the people who saw the funny video. So what's the ad now with the people who read the article about 10 reasons you should have your roof inspected?
Get a free roof inspection.
Yeah.
What?
Get a free roof.
Yeah, now we can offer them a free roof inspection. It makes sense. We're not skipping, we're now going to the subscribe section. Does that make sense? We don't skip steps. Now, can someone see the video this morning? See the ad at 2 o'clock for the 10 reasons, and then see the ad at 7 o'clock tonight and schedule a free roof inspection and call and schedule? Yes, it can happen in a day, but it happens in the steps. Okay, by the time we're asking them to schedule a free appointment, they already believe we're trustworthy, likable, and know what we're talking about. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, once we engage, I'm sorry. So here's the subscribe thing, okay? Because this is the original chart we showed, okay, of the 8. Every time you're making a turn is the tough one. In other words, it's easy to go from awareness to engagement to subscribe, okay? But then for them to actually convert, that's hard. Okay, because now they actually have to make a decision. The other ones can kind of go with the flow, you know what I mean? But all of a sudden they can't go with the flow anymore. They have to make a decision. And then coming across, they convert, they excite, but then the next corner is where they have to actually become a client. So the things in the corners are the hard things on the sides. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we've got the subscribe. Okay, that's where we get their phone number, their email, they schedule an appointment, they make a way that we can carry on a more direct conversation, okay? Now we'll go to convert, okay? A conversion, I've already said this, but I want to talk about this a little bit more because this is really relevant. A conversion is where they invest in the relationship. Is where they say, okay, I'm busy, but I'll give you an evening for a dinner. Is where they say, yes, I'll come in and look at your granite slabs. Is where they say, yes, I will meet with you and show you my kitchen space so you can tell me what I can do with it. They're actually investing something that they don't want to give up. How many people want to give up an hour of their life? You know what I mean? We're just all so busy. We don't want to give it up. So that's what a conversion is. So you have to figure out ways to do conversions. This is where your creative thinking is. How can I come up with conversion, okay? Now, looking around who I've done, I know you're gonna smack me now, okay?
Okay.
But how many people know that I do spotlight videos for Nari? Okay, right? Okay. All right, that's great for Nari. But what's it doing for me?
Creating awareness.
I'm creating awareness, what else?
You're engaging.
I'm engaging, what else?
You're going right up the ladder.
I'm going up right the ladder. Right
Yeah.
to the convert.
Yeah.
You've given me an hour of your time. You've
Right.
given me, okay,
That
to get
makes
to know
sense
me,
yeah.
right? So, am I doing it to help Nari? Absolutely. Am I doing it totally selflessly? Absolutely not. Fair enough? I mean, it's just, so this is where you have to get creative. The corners where you change direction, that's where you have to get creative. Figure out how you can get them to invest time with you, okay, or money. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of digital marketers like to think this is all new. But, you know, this has been around for years. You know what we used to call it in retail? A loss leader. What was a loss leader? It was giving something of value for their investor time to come in and walk through your store. It was, now in our business, we call it a tripwire, where you go, because at this point, at some level, you're now a client of mine. You may not be paying any money, but you're investing time. Does that make,
Yeah.
so,
The upsell was critical.
what?
The upsell was critical of the loss leader.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay, but it is on this too, because what are we trying to do with the convert? What's the very next stage? It's right up here for those who've forgotten. Right, that's our upsell. If we don't handle that in a way that the person's excited, I mean, I will tell you, when I do the spotlight videos, I think anyone who's done it knows I don't try to sell at all, okay? But am I trying to excite you? Yes, okay? Am I trying to share something that you can take away and help your business with? Yes, because that's part of the process. If you're not excited, then I'm gonna have done a spotlight video and I might see you next week and the next month at the Nari meeting. Does that make sense? So we're going through the process here, okay? So that's the convert. Figure out something. It can be, I will tell you, and this gets controversial, but you know, I don't know how many people, I don't know how many in this room are actual remodelers, and I don't know if you charge for design work, but I will tell you, the fastest growing kitchen and bath company I ever saw was a company down in Newport News, and I forget the name, but they were involved in being like, that was a great guy.
Jim Hicks.
No, it wasn't. It was another guy. But he made the Inc. 5000 list. If anyone knows the Inc. 5000, fastest growing, he made it in his 30 year in business. Okay? I mean, he just was, okay. And do you know what he gave away? Design work. And he'd tell you, we'll give you everything. You can take it to any builder you want and get a quote and get them to do it. Okay? But I've got to ask you, have you ever changed anything at your house?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So if we sit down and work that through together, and you choose to use someone else, what does that tell me about what I did for you? Wasn't of much value.
It was, yeah.
Because you have to have a reason to go and use someone else at that point. If I've had that time to develop that relationship, right? And if they go and find someone else just because they were $5,000 cheaper on a $150,000 remodel, you just dodged a bullet. Right? Okay, I'll tell you, this is a true story. I'm in Rotary, and one of my Rotarians is a travel agent. This happened 10 years ago. A local high school came and said, a teacher came and said, we're planning on doing a trip to Spain. We'd like a quote of what that would cost. So he did a quote. They chose a different company. Which is fine, that's business, right? Have you ever had someone choose another company? Okay. 3 months later, the teacher shows up and says, we picked this other company that was out in Texas. We sent them all our money and they don't exist anymore. The kid's out $16,000. I don't know what to do. Can you get us the trip? Okay, now wait, if the punchline's coming, he said, well, no, I don't have 16,000. He goes, but why did you go with them? And they said they were cheaper than you. Okay, but wait a second, I haven't given you the punchline yet. He goes, how much cheaper? She goes, $11. Okay, now, is he lucky he didn't get that client? Okay, you see my, okay, so I mean, it's interesting. I know a lot of people like charging for it, and they don't think, see, we get ego involved in too. I shouldn't be giving away work. I gotta tell you, one of the quickest ways to prove your value is to do work for someone. And if it has to be free, there's actually a term for it, and it's free to fee. Okay? If we supply enough value, we should be proving our value. If we're not proving our value, then we need to work on our skills. Right? All right? But that's what converters, they're either giving you money or time. And it doesn't matter if you make any money in it. It matters over here if you make money on it. I'm not saying you can survive not making money, but in this process, it's fine. Okay? All right, so we got it good. Let's go to Excite. Okay, so Excite.
Can I just interject really quick?
Absolutely.
One of the things you'll see on this chart are dash lines.
Oh, the good
Okay.
point.
So if you're in the convert, you get them to invest their time, they don't get excited. You can dump them back down. Let me just back up to the main.
This is an excellent point. I'm sorry that I missed it.
You can, if they don't convert, you can dump them back down and engage them and try and push them back through. If you convert them and they don't get excited, you can drop them back in the engagement and go back through. So if you get stuck,
Right.
you can go back and loop around.
Yeah,
Right.
if they convert, they come and spend time with us and don't go forward, they go right back into the engaged category trying to convert them again. Okay, great point, thank you. Grace. That's why Grace and C used to bail me out when I forget stuff. All right, so Excite. Think about, okay, excitement doesn't happen by chance. I mean, it might happen by chance, but the odds are it's going to happen because you planned on it happening. Does that make? So I've got to ask you, at that first meeting, when someone is giving you their time, what you have designed into it to excite them. Not to sell them, because we all have things designed to sell them. Not to sell them, to excite them. Think about it. I'll tell you, rarely does anybody have anything. They'll tell me, well, I do this and I think it excites them, but that's not what I'm asking. It's designed to excite them. In other words, it's there not to sell them, it's there not to help with the presentation, it's there to excite them. Okay? You need to figure out what that is. And it can be different for everybody. Okay? I'll give you an example, which I think was absolutely brilliant. Okay, I'll be honest. I wish I had come up with it. Have you ever seen something that was so good you wish it was your idea? There was this financial planner who was a graduate of Christ Church School. Anybody familiar with Christ Church School? Yeah, it's an Episcopal school down in Urbana. Okay, tends to have fairly affluent families that go there, and so he'd meet a lot of prospects in that process. Okay, he was in the Christ Church Hall of Fame for sports and stuff, and he was involved in the athletic. Okay, so let's just say your daughter was going to Christ Church. So I'm the financial planner. We meet. I seem like a nice guy. You don't really, you're not thrilled about your financial, but not bad, but you're not thrilled. So you decide to give me a chance. Okay, and your daughter, by the way, is a phenomenal field hockey player. I don't know if you know that. Okay, so you come into my office to meet with me. You know what the first thing he did was? Just go, Mel, I'm really glad you came. And by the way, I went to the field hockey game last week. Your daughter's just wonderful. In fact, I took a picture of her. He happened to be an amateur photographer. And he'd pull out a beautiful picture of your daughter playing field hockey, framed, ready to put up on the wall. I just wanted to share with you. I enjoyed it so much. Okay? Now, Marilyn, I don't know you. You might hate your daughter. I don't know. I don't even know if you have a daughter. But are you excited now about having met with me? I haven't opened up my mouth about financial planning yet. but you're excited. Am I right?
Yes.
Because who's the most special person in the world?
Oh, your family members.
Right. And what has he just shown brilliance in? Understanding how, right? That's what I mean. See, he had a plan on how to have Marilyn leave that meeting excited. Is that making sense to people? Okay. So let's go down to the ascend now, okay? All right. I'm sorry, we started a little late, so I'm going to try to get this in as much as possible. Ascend now is where the person now comes and works for you, okay? Who does, hires you to do work. They're actually doing, now this is unlike convert, where you didn't care if you made money or not. This is now how you make money. They now have become a real client, all right? And the wording gets a little confusing because a lot of people think convert means becoming a client. And it might mean they become a client, but it's not a real client. It's not the client you're looking for. Okay. So now the ascend is that we're there, number one, to do the job they hired us for, but if at all possible, move them up and do more work with me, okay? So as an example, you might come in as a $400 a month client with more prospects now. Well, the first thing I want to do is deliver on $400 worth of value. But I'm also trying to lay the seeds where you go, I'm spending $400, but I'm really kind of being stupid here. Because if I was spending $800, I'm getting such results at $400. If I was spending $800, that's the incentive. Now, in remodeling, that's not always as easy because, they might just be doing a kitchen. But you still want to be finding out, are they happy with their bathroom? Are they happy with their master? This stuff. And you want to be building that relationship where you're going to send them over time. Okay? Now, time for me might be a matter of months. Time for a kitchen and bath remodel, it might be a matter of years. Okay? So what do we know about, we'll go back to Leo, what do we know about Leo 3 years from now?
Sales.
He needs sales 3 years from now. Okay? Think about it, how many times we have a client, they buy a kitchen from us or whatever, or marketing or whatever, and we deliver it and it's done. It can't ever be done. You're always trying to ascend the people until they become an advocate and a promoter. All right? So how do you do that? One way, I knew one kitchen and bath remodeler who was really good at, they'd go into your house and we talk about the kitchen, because just out of interest, are you looking at anything else over the next 5 to 10 years? Once we've done this and everything's settled, we're thinking about redoing the master bath. Oh, really? I've had kitchen baths where we've been able to do it for $10,000 to $15,000, not kitchen, master baths for $10,000 to $15,000 less if we do it at the same time as the kitchen. Because our crew is already working on it, and they go, really? Well, maybe we should talk about that. Okay, that's ascension. Does that make sense? By the way, is that true that he can do it cheaper if you're already in the house working? Yeah. Does that make, okay. So that's ascension. You gotta have, but this all has to be planned out. As I say, that financial planner, I don't know if you remember him, he's a really nice guy. Remember the picture you have up on your wall? Yeah, right. He didn't do that by coincidence. It was planned. All of this has to be planned. Okay.
I want to give one more example. Would you like fries with that? The upsells are profit maximizers, right? You get the hamburger, it's low profit. You had the fries and the soda and the apple pie. Now you've made, can you tell I like McDonald's? You know what I mean? So you upsold them with the simple, would you like fries with that?
That's right. Okay. All right. So now we go to the advocate. Okay. How do we do advocate? This is where they feel special after the project. It's one thing to feel special before the project. We're working very hard. I remember one couple, it was kind of funny. It was at a church group and people kind of talking about dating and stuff. And the guy, one of the guys there was a married couple there. One of the guys says, well, to be honest, before we were married, I really used to think a lot about our dates and I'd try to plan them out for you. And I realized I don't do that anymore. And she, being a very kind wife, said, well, to be honest, I used to really worry a lot about what I was going to wear and stuff. And I don't do that anymore. Okay? The fact is, we tend to become familiar. And it's probably not healthy. Right? it probably wasn't healthy that he wasn't planning out dates anymore. It probably wasn't healthy that she was no longer worried about how she looked when she went on that date, if you understand. Now, do you need time where you can just wear blue jeans and be, yes, absolutely. I'm not saying every night's a date, okay? But there probably has to be a little spark somewhere.
We build this beautiful kitchen for people. We're used to it all the time. We're close to it. It's like, yeah, we forget how excited they are and how to build on their excitement and get them even more excited.
Yeah.
Look how gorgeous this is. And look, we started here. It's been a great journey, and just look at all the memories you're going to have here in the future, just to get them excited about the process, and at the completion as well, and engages them. And at that point, then they want to help promote it.
Yeah, if you remember, I said the Newport News guy who made the Inc. 5000 list in his 3rd year in business, he did $10,000 in his 5th year in business. It's not bad. I don't know what anyone in this room is doing, but $10,000 in your 5th year in business is pretty good. One of the things he'd do every time is, Sharon, you just finished your kitchen. I tell you, here's what I'd like to do. He'd literally say this. He goes, I know you have a lot of family and friends who would love to see it. And he literally would say this, okay? Because transparency, and Sharon, to be honest, this is a little selfish on my part, but I'd like to sponsor a party at your house where you can do an unveiling to all your family and friends. And I'd like to be able to bring a videographer and record the party. So you can have the party at my expense, but I'd like to be able to use the video for marketing, okay? What are you gonna say to that? Okay? Okay, now, the funny thing is if he doesn't give the reason he's doing it, it's kind of like, well, why is he doing it? But as long as he gives the reason, it's like, God, that makes perfect sense. But he actually wasn't doing it for the video. He was actually doing it to make Sharon feel special. He had to come up with a reason to justify it. And by the way, did he use the video? Absolutely. Was it good for him? Absolutely. But his real reason was it came in a brainstorming session of what can I do to have Sharon feel special when this project's finished. By the way, this is hard work. This isn't, when people come to me about marketing, what they want is, tell me the 3 things to do and have my business double in 90 days. That's what people want. This is hard work, and every single company's different. See, what worked for that financial planner? I've got to tell you, it wouldn't work for someone who hadn't gone to Christ Church, wasn't in the Hall of Fame, wasn't involved in it, but they got something else, their woodwork. They just have to figure out what their thing is. Does that make? Because we are all special. I mean, we really are. And we just have to figure out what our specialness is. The reason he's outstanding was he spent the time to figure out what his specialness was. Right? Not because he was any more special than anyone else. He spent the time to figure out what it was. Right? Okay. So that's now moving him to the advocate, right? And the last thing is going to promote, okay, which is a lot of the stuff you were just talking about, okay? It's where we actually stay in contact long after the kitchen's been done, long after the basement was remodeled and stuff. It's where we have, another company we work with is they do a party at the first weekend in February every year, okay? And they do it as a fundraiser for a local charity, but they don't have, and what they do, okay, now just think about this, okay? Just imagine your clients have more prospects now than we did this. We don't, by the way. Okay, but they invited all of their clients to a special event at a restaurant and made a donation of significance, $10,000, $15,000, which is fairly significant to a local charity. And why were their clients there? Because you made it possible. We could not be helping the homeless in Fredericksburg if you were not part of the team. Do you feel special? Do you feel special? Okay? Now people go, well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of marketing. Right? Does that make? Okay, that's it. So that's the process, okay? All right. Now in 3 minutes, I'm just going to run through with Leo what we did with this, okay? So basically, when he came to us a year ago, the first thing is we had to get awareness. So the first thing we worked on was SEO and social media. Now, luckily, I'll tell you, and I said this about Nick also, Leo and Nick, the reason we have great results for them is partly because we do good work, but partly we do work that other people can do too. The thing that's special is they're special. They do what they need to do. We tell Nick we need a video of like this to put on the thank you page, and we need it now. He stops what he is doing, and he gets us the video. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, I think we're doing a good job for him, but he's doing a great job for him.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make?
Yeah.
And the same with Leo. As Angela knows Leo. Does Leo do a great job for Leo?
Yes.
I mean, he is out working. Okay, he's working. He's not waiting for stuff to happen. He's making it happen. Okay. So first things we work with SEO and helping with his social media. Why? Because it's awareness. It's the first place we have to work. Okay. Then we began to beef up some of his blog posts and other content. Why? Because it's engagement, right? We then worked on his booklet and stuff to do and worked on the landing pages on that because we needed more people getting that. Why? Because that was conversion, right? And then when they had the meeting or whatever, Leo, people who saw the video today, I mean, you can tell Leo's going to interact well with you, okay? So that's the excitement. Okay,
He
so
bought into her purple pots.
Yeah.
what is it,
Well,
right?
I wanted to interject something. Leo's videos were a really good example of moving someone from advocate to promote because LaJoy, he said, hey, look, I need to get a testimonial video. She said, sure. So she's an advocate. And then once he got in there and did the video, she's telling everybody she knows.
Yeah.
Well, we know she posted it on her Facebook page.
She posted it on her Facebook page. She told all her friends to go watch it. She had her friends over for a dinner party and talked about Leo. I mean, that's...
And how many people in the church do you think saw the priest's video?
everyone.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a sizable church in Richmond. It's a
Right.
very big church.
Okay, so then we move on to what we did on January 6th, which is what we talked about. We then took all this momentum we had built up and put in the high converting website and stuff. Okay, can you throw that up just real quick?
His website?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so,
I gotta go pick my wife up.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're in trouble.
okay.
And
We don't
you're
want you in
not even
trouble.
leaving with some sort of door prize. What
Yeah,
happened tonight?
I'm off
You're
my-
dropping your membership.
Don't say that.
I'm just
I
kidding.
like it now.
All right.
We've locked you in.
Yeah,
You
yes.
come this way. I don't know if that
Yeah,
would, how
well,
that would.
now you know why I was so calm when you said you had to leave.
You're
I
like,
think you
you're-
want to leave it.
You're
I
not
locked
getting out.
you locked me in. You knew that before
All
we
right.
started the seminar. Thank you,
Was
Art.
that? Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Is this making? I gotta ask. Raise your hand. Is this giving you a little different view of what digital marketing? Okay, good. So again, what's the number one thing that people want to know when they come to your website?
Can you do,
Can you do the work? What's the number two thing you want to know?
I trust you.
Can I trust you, right? So, take a look at this, okay? I don't think this is a bad looking website, but I don't think it's the best looking website in the world, okay? Because we've made some decisions here around those two questions, okay? So, first of all, here's a picture. It breaks up the whole picture of the kitchen, to be blunt. From an aesthetic point of view, that shouldn't be there.
But that says the word qualified right there.
Right, okay? Qualified remodeler. I guess he's qualified, right? And then NAHB Remodel of the Year.
Right.
I don't have a clue what an NAHB is, but I get that it's important, okay? Then we go to the trust bar, okay? It breaks up the whole damn website, homepage. It's not beautiful, but oh,
That Nary logo is
he's
beautiful.
got NARI accredited remodeling company. He's the best winner. He's a graduate master remodeler. He's part of the Home Building Association. He's a Cody Award. I don't know what that is, but it sounds important. Guild master. Wow. Does this make okay? If you come to this website, do you think he knows how to do what you need done?
Yes.
Does he look trustworthy? Okay. Now go back up just a little bit. Now this is really interesting. almost all websites are written from the perspective of who?
The business owner.
Business.
We.
The business.
Yeah.
We are the best remodeler. We can build, okay? What's the wording here? Live the dream with a new kitchen, okay? It's talking to you, what you're interested in, not what they're interested in. They're not selling you a kitchen here, they're helping you get your dream kitchen. Okay? Our basic model, and we have a hard time convincing people this, is you should be talking about them 3 times for every 1 time you're talking about yourself. Okay? Just a quick thing, we used to have a great website that really talked about us really good. Okay, and we had a 91% bounce rate. Now, a bounce rate means someone comes to the homepage and leaves. We changed it to what keeps you up at night? Is it lack of sales? Is it not high enough profit margins? Is it not finding good employees? What keeps you up at night? We went down to a 51% bounce rate. Okay, because we started talking about them rather than talking about us. Okay, has anyone ever going back to the dating, has ever anyone gone on a date where the other person spent all night telling you how great they were and you left going, that was the best date I've ever been on? Okay, who should the conversation be about? The other person.
This is the example.
Yeah, what keeps you up at night?
You know, we're gonna ruin websites for you from here on out. If you read a website, you know, how many of you had the best principals? How many of you are the best designers? How many of you do quality work? How many of you have lots of people that love you? You get where I'm going?
Yeah.
Every website is, we're the best, we're the quality, we've got the principles, our employees are the best, we take care of you, we, and we, and we.
Right. So, what keeps you up at night? Not what keeps me up at night. You not being a client of mine keeps me up at night, but that doesn't keep you up. You lost a single night of sleep about not being up, right? What you're interested in is the thing that keeps you up at night. This took it from a 91% bounce rate to a 51% bounce rate. By the way, 51% is almost unattainable. 51% bounce rate is shocking. I mean, the lowest of anyone's I know is about 46, 47%. I mean, we're right up the, okay, because a lot of times people are just going to see what you're on. They're going to, you know, they're just, okay, okay. So figure out how to talk about them rather than talking about you. All right? How many feel people, that I'm saying this only because I really felt this, how many people feel right now just a little dumb that their website talks a little too much about them and not enough about the client, okay? It's really interesting because if you talk about the client, they'll find out how good you are. They'll spend the time on your website long enough to find out how good you are. Okay, now you take a look.
I'm sorry, Art.
Go ahead.
70% of the buying decisions are made before someone talks to anybody on the internet now. If you think about it, they've researched their colors, their cabinets, their countertops, everything, their lighting, their appliances, and they kind of have a generalized idea of what they want. Then they go into the, okay, who can I find that can do this for me? And you know, kind of to our point later is, if you've given them those answers, what does it cost? How long does it take? Can I trust you? You give those answers, the better chance that they're going to engage with you farther.
So,
Further.
you notice we have 2 calls to action here. The first one is to schedule your appointment. Oh no, that's not the first one. What is the first one on most people's website? For more information, contact us at, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
What's the things we're saying? See, we're going to engagement. We've got an awareness. They're here. Now we're going to engagement. We're not asking for a sale there. You can't find a thing on that site that is asking for a sale at that point. Because asking for a sale is asking Marilyn, after she agrees to have a cup of coffee with me at lunchtime, asking her to marry me. Right? Are you married?
Right next door.
Is he big? Oh, okay. I was just using that as an example, okay? But does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just instinctually, how much better does that feel? Now, do we have it right? Probably not. Well, hopefully we'll come up with something better to put there next month, if you know, okay? But does that make sense? We're there dealing with them. Why trust us? See for yourself. And, you know, you click through, it shows you so. 7 things to ask your remodeler. We're not asking for a sale. We're not even asking you to consider buying from us yet. All we're asking for you is to learn why to trust us and can we give you good information?
But if you want to contact us, that information's right at the top.
Yeah, because somebody might be going to the homepage who's already been through several things. But see, they'll go up and hit contact. You don't need to tell them to hit contact. If they're ready to contact you, they'll contact. All right? Now, there's several other things on this site. Let's go back up so we can read this. Is upgrading a kitchen or bathroom, an enormous investment in your home's look and value. Okay? Are we selling them right now? Or are we acknowledging that we understand where they're coming from?
Does that enormous investment also kind of set the tone that he's higher end?
Yeah.
And kind of weed out some people?
Yeah, when we design a website, we don't want everyone contacting you. We're wanting the people that should be contacting you.
And we give you one little chance to talk about yourself, and that's this paragraph.
Right.
And everything else is not allowed.
Okay? Now, I could go on, but I mean, we're past due already, but I just wanted you guys to see kind of what this might look like. So, just to remind you, the website and the videos, okay, after we built it up by moving people through the bottom portion, we had already worked on awareness by doing SEO and stuff. We had already worked on engagement by having great articles and stuff. But from December, it was 10 leads in December and 3 downloads. By changing that and including videos, we went to in 9 days, 11 downloads and 17 leads. Okay?
Dramatic.
That is dramatic, and that's what happens when you honor relationships. And what I mean by honor relationships is you don't go from awareness to let's get married. Okay? Now, I will admit, Grayson met Angela and wanted to marry her. Okay?
Can't blame
But
him.
right away. No, but I think people get that, right, when we do. Okay.
Every now.
All right. I could keep going, but that's it. But if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer questions.